Hi guys, Martin Curry from Belief Media. In this video I'm going to show you a feature on your website that has the capacity to massively explode your funnel conversions. Alright, we're going to look at a component of the form that will switch your front page for another after that form is submitted. Now this is just one way we can alter the front page from one to another. You can alter on the basis of clicks, page views, an entry URL, a number of factors, normally provisioned via triggers. So we've looked at the switch module in the past, and this is a series of alternate front pages on your website. And I'll just flick through some of these now. There's about 20 pages that are used more often than others. So why are these pages used? Why are these pages used? And that is because a lot of the time we make claims either in our social promotion or on landing pages, particularly because what I'm about to show you is entirely relevant on landing pages. But we make these claims that we service the medical industry, nurses and so on, yet there's nothing to support that. So what this does, again, used on the back end of landing page subscriptions primarily, is our website will respond conditionally to our claim. If we know that a user, a nurse, for example, or a doctor, is responding to an ad that is positioned directly to that audience, we can switch out the front page, and that further supports or validates our claim. It doesn't matter when they come back to our website, the front page will always show an alternate front page, what becomes their primary front page. So I'll have a quick look now. We've got the nurses page up now. What I'll do is I'll just use a basic entry URL here for police, and I may have entered an incorrect URL there. Oh, there you go. So that creates a police front page, and it's often used on the back end of certain types of promotion, email promotion, and so on. If you're sending an email out to, 1,000 accountants, you want accountants.yourwebsite.com.au, and they will be shown a specific page for accountants. If you're sending promoting to police, you've got flyers up in police station or whatever else, you're going to have a QR code there or a URL at police.yourwebsite.com.au that will redirect them to the front page, and that front page will replace the primary front page. So I'll just do one more, this time with a medical link, and I'll show you how if we bounce around the site, and I'll just select the maybe the resources page and maybe a couple of others, just to show how I'll just pull up any old page here. Let's just pull up a search. When we hit this home button, so when we come back to the home button, it will show our alternate front page. I personally believe it to be one of the most significant funnel features. Remember that one of the greatest funnel commodities is the attention of your user. You gain attention via relevance. You have to deliver a website experience that's consistent with your core messaging. You have to deliver a website experience that shapes itself around the borrowing objective or the interest or the occupation of a user. And your website has the capacity to do that in multiple ways, not just with this front page, but with multiple panels throughout your website that are conditionally shown. Now, the most basic of that, of course, is videos, for example. Every time you enter a video or a block of text or a button or anything else, you have the option of defining a specific button for a specific industry type or occupation or interest or borrowing objective or whatever else. So it does convert more objectively. Remember, the landing page experience is very bread and butter as brokers understand it in the industry. And what I'm about to say sounds very self-serving because I know we're the only company in the industry that that applies any effort to the funnel. So we're the only company that applies anything that resembles a switch module. Again, very self-serving. But I think it is incredibly important. That landing page is more than a landing page. It should never, ever, ever be hosted on a third-party platform because it has the capacity to contribute towards your site. Now, a lot of people host landing pages on high level and lead pages and ClickFunnels and all these third-party sites on the periphery that do an okay job of rendering a landing page, but they do nothing to support your funnel focus. So they're not funnel-centric features. They're not designed to convert on your website. They're designed to convert on a single page, and that is a landing page. So it obliterates the potential to manufacture a funnel or a pathway for those users. Now, what's worse, by the way, now I'm going to talk a little bit about this in another video, but the typical landing structure for most brokers is an ad. Of course, the ad includes the snap, crackle, pop videos. They're edited on various AI tools in Canva and things like that. So, you know, the same animations are applied to every video. Every video that every broker has at the moment is identical. It's appalling, really. Everybody just copies each other. And then, of course, the copy is the same. Everything is copycat. But nonetheless, let's say it's tailored towards a specific industry, and let's say it's tailored towards the medical industry. They're going to send to a landing page, which is a position landing page, so it's focused on attracting a specific occupation, in this case, into our funnel. An individual will subscribe to that via a bunch of stepped form messages that do absolutely nothing, and then we'll send offsite to Calendly, which is absurd. Now, anybody that sends offsite to an offsite calendar has zero concept of what it takes to build a compelling and engaging funnel experience. It's a funnel killer. It is just the most absurd thing you can do from within the funnel feature itself. Now, we've talked about the capacity to render Calendly style calendars on every page of your website, and that's one there. That's integrated, so it's not an iframe, it's not JavaScript embed, it's on your website. So, of course, where do these forms go? Where do we place forms on your website? Every single page on your website, I've said this 100 times, I apologize if you're getting sick of hearing it. Every single page on your website is an organic entry point for somebody. People come from anywhere, for any reason. They come from partners, referrals, social, search traffic, organically. They come via purpose or position links that are shared in different types of promotion. People come from anywhere, and the page they enter is always going to be different, usually going to be different. So we have a conversion facility on every single page of your website. The notion that you would reserve the ability or the capacity to convert a client on just landing pages is utterly ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Sadly, this is what most brokers do, and the landing pages that these brokers are using are poor out of the box, and certainly the landing pages must, and I say must, be integrated with your website. So we have the ability to do what I'm about to describe. So as a user subscribes to something, if we're giving away a booklet here for police specifically, that's a good indicator that the individual we're dealing with is a police officer. So we can switch the front page out, for a police officer front page, and we can switch other panels throughout your site, videos and different types of content blocks and so on, tailored specifically for that group. So most of these features on your website are completely turnkey. By the way, they just work. It just happens out of the box. Certainly the entire switch module is entirely turnkey. So you can go and create, a police.yourwebsite.com.au right now, and that police page will show on the basis of that. So when you, when you engage in different types of promotion, make sure you consider the impact that the switch module might have. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use a form on our FAQ module. This is an FAQ from within our FAQ module here, and there's a form down the bottom which is a demo form. So we've got a little bit of demo content above the form, a first home buyer guide, in this case a very old first home buyer guide, image, and the form itself. This field is not normally shown, and it's where a user can select what they're interested in. In this case, we're only showing 6 options, but you can have as many options there as you like, and one is always selected by default. The reason we don't do that is because each page, well, first of all, we don't need to know the information unless there's some sort of conditional aspect associated with it. So I am interested in first-home buyers or refinancing or whatever else. Refinancing is a declaration. We know they're interested in refinancing. That in itself can cause a switch. That in itself can contribute towards the conditional module because it's a heightened indicator of their interest type. They're declaring something. So you'll rarely see that on any form on your site. That's only shown there because it's a demo form. Of course, as with all forms, we've got the integrated calendar right here, which you should have on every single page of your website. Remember, these dates and times are populated from Outlook directly, and as the user submits this, these details will be submitted through to your calendar directly. Again, I get really frustrated when I see people engage with these third-party calendar services because most of the time you're sending people off-site. On some occasions, I've seen people sort of launch a Calendly calendar inside a modal, but it doesn't fit. You have to scroll up and down. Some of the buttons aren't accessible. It's just clumsy and lazy. We don't take the tail wags the dog approach. That is, we don't let technology dictate our funnel. What we do is we conceptualize a funnel, we know what's going to convert, and we build our website and our experience around that. You cannot have, I'll be very clear, you cannot have a funnel experience if you do not integrate your website. Certainly in the follow-up emails and so on, we're going to send people back to property report pages, the FAQ knowledge base, streets modules and property reports. We're going to send them back to lender pages, comparison engines, all sorts of things, and certainly articles and things like that. So we're going to send them back to your website, and that has the ability to convert like in the order of like 300, 400, 500% more conversions at some point. Remember, the lead that you buy off Facebook, that lead that you might buy of $5 or $6 or whatever else, won't always engage with you straight away. Half the time they'll ghost you if they're required to provide a phone number. If you didn't verify, the phone number might be incorrect. It's often the follow-up that will get them on the blower. And when I say often, more often than not. And certainly the organic traffic that you're getting onto your website now, you need to convert that. A lot of people will throw money at Facebook because they're not getting conversions off their website, and that's because their website doesn't have the capacity to convert. So again, this feature that I'm describing now is just one way of massively improving upon your conversions. And our framework is built with conversion-focused objectives all over it. All right, so I'm going to look here just very quickly. I'm going to pull up the forms module. Now, these forms that are assigned to different pages on your website, I'll just show you very quickly now. They're assigned via locations, and you'll see what I mean in a second when this page pops up. So we've got panels and forms and custom review. Okay, I'm just going to look at forms here. All right, and the form we have showing underneath our FAQ. So under FAQ is demo form 1. That's the form that we're going to use for the purpose of a switch. So a switch is made on the basis of an individual form. Let's select lead forms here. And I'll just review these and I'll edit. In fact, the first thing I'll do, if I catch it in time, no, I didn't. I'll just show you very quickly. When we create a form, we first select the website because we need to know what assets are available to the user. So we'll select the website and we pull up this form. There's a large number of options here: email lists and autoresponder options, contact folders, first and second email, conditional redirects, which are extremely important, again, because the funnel is a digital conversation, right? You're having with a user. Just because it's a website doesn't mean it has to be static. We employ conditional or dynamic functionality wherever we can. And in this case, a conditional redirect profile will send a user to a page based on their form interaction. I think it's one of the most basic features you can include into a form that nobody ever uses. So everybody obliterates or wastes that opportunity to engage in that necessary escalation of commitment. So we're wasting that second page, and the second page of a landing page cycle is just as important, if not more so, than the first, right? Because we've got the capacity to do something else with that user. And most people at that point will send to a calendar, right, off a second page of a landing page, off-site. So we're sending them away from our website. We've paid all this money to get someone on our website, right? Certainly they've engaged with the landing page, but then we've sent them off-site. So we're sending them elsewhere. Anyway, I'm not going to harp on that. I just think it's absurd. When we know these things have a massive impact, like a really significant and massive impact on your bottom line and the cost per conversion, why not employ it? To me, it's just crazy. Of course, what I've just described is only possible if you have calendar integrated forms, because this form provides for at least 3 options, and that is a basic subscriber, which is what I am here, just a subscriber, or just a phone number, if I provide a phone number here, or a booking. So any number of those conditions may apply, or nothing at all. So there's 4 primary types, and we need to respond to that appropriately and show content on the basis of what somebody did within a form. And we'll send them in different directions. If somebody is a subscriber, so say jump on this page and make a booking, we're going to send them to a page that escalates them. We're going to send them to a page that gives them or informs them of what might be required of them in that initial phone call. You prepare them. I'm going to ask you some questions. Some of them are uncomfortable. We're going to talk about your income and your borrowing capacity, your debt history, and so on. We need to prepare people for that. It sets them up for the experience. And it puts them at ease. Certainly a phone number is similar to a booking. We'll send them in a different direction. I'll talk about conditional redirects another time, because this is one of those features I don't see people apply. And I do understand why. It's because they don't know how. But it needs to be done, because anything that can improve upon your conversions needs to be done. It's not an option. So let's go through and just finish having a look here. There's a whole bunch of options, right? A lot of them are hidden. Right, the reason I'm showing you all these hidden options is because when we edit a form, it shows all the options. The single option that we're going to focus on is this one here, a switch front page. So when a user clicks on whatever form we're creating here, when they engage with that form, we're going to switch out the front page for one of these. Right, you can create as many switch pages as you like. In fact, any single page on your website can effectively or essentially be a page that is swapped out for another. So let's have a look at Formally Forms here. Okay, demo form 1. Okay, that's what we had a look at before. I'm going to change this, and I'm just going to call it switch to medical. And I'm going to plug that in there so I know. This is obviously a demo form. A whole bunch of options have been applied here. Every time I submit this, I'm going to get emails and be subscribed to autoresponder programs, and contacts are going to be evaluated in Microsoft Contacts. All sorts of things are going to happen. So what I will do, by the way, here's the conditional redirect profile. And this is the default redirect. That's a single redirect that applies either if it's defined or if no other redirect is defined. It doesn't have to be set, but we want to send people somewhere else generally. The important thing is here is I'm going to set this up for a medical. What I'll do is I'll set it up for allied health. Okay, we had a look at that page before. So when a user submits the demo form 1 page, which is assigned to our FAQ module, down here, come on, we will, clicking things here and nothing's working, we will create that switch wherever it's gone. There it is there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select default form fields BM, only because I hope that takes out the what are you interested in option within the formally block there. So I'm going to save that. This is a multi-website system, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click this little recycle link. I'm going to select the website and send. And all our form data is now actioned on our website. Now the very first thing I'm going to do is just show you once again, if I click on here, on the home button on our website, it will take us to the page I'm looking at now. Right? Give it a few seconds. When I'm doing screen recording, everything slows down to a halt. I have to make that point because it's very, very slow. It's even hard to move the mouse around the screen. So I'm going to go back to this form and I'm going to refresh the page. I'm only going to refresh the page because I want to see if I've removed that. No, I haven't removed this silly thing here. That's irritating. So when you create these form fields, I'll show you in another video. It's very easy, but I can't remember the last time I've ever used this on any client website, for example. I just don't use it. Now, why is my name and email already showing? And that is because you should never ask for a name and email a second time. I've previously subscribed to something on this website, so it will be shown. So never ever, and this is another problem with sending offsite to a calendar. Anything you ask of anybody that creates effort, and that includes a keystroke or a mouse movement. Anything that requires any effort objectively decreases conversion. Each page you ask in a landing page flow, or each question you ask in a step form will again decrease conversions. People drop off. Now, a lot of brokers think of that as qualification or a commitment ceremony. Now, it is not. It is not. The only reason we ask questions in a stepped form is so we can return results. I'm going to show you that really, really quickly. It's one of the things that is lost. And by the way, a couple of people have asked me very recently about the styling of different types of step forms. And yes, you can style these to look in any way that floats your boat. And I'm going to create another video in a couple of days and show you how to go through this. Certainly, if you're engaging in landing pages, it's entirely necessary. So if we just jump through a bunch of these hoops, your credit history, rather than a select menu, we will provide a stack option, which is a number of buttons. Because again, a select menu requires that a user actually do something rather than just press this button. And certainly selecting a state, we've only got limited options there, so we'll just present a stack of options. Why is my name and email showing in this form already before I've even provided it? And that's because I've previously engaged with the form. Never ask it again. Why is there a calendar at the end? Because a calendar integrated form is important. Right? I try and impress this upon brokers all the time, and I think the message is lost. If you send offsite to a calendar after your landing page flow, you've removed or diminished your capacity to escalate that individual, and your conversions drop off immediately by a couple of 100%. So if we come here and jump through these hoops and whatever else and set a date, we can send to a certain page. Now I'm just going to show you all our oh boy, excuse me. This cough is not getting any better. So we provide, off the back end of our comparison engine, we provide results straight away. 4.79, 574, 6184 monthly, and so on. And if I click this link, and this link only applies within internal pages, not landing pages. We do not send an individual to results pages on landing pages. In fact, we return them on the landing page itself. And I'll show you in another video because our landing page module is massive, just massive. So this has brought us to a page that's responding to the input. So all the values that were provided by the user, the purchase price, the deposit, all that sort of stuff. And of course, we didn't book in anything. So I'm going to show a calendar again. All right, this should really be the focus. This should really be up the top. And the message here should say something like, hey, you know, we've determined that you may be eligible for this sort of product, this sort of rate, all that sort of stuff, and show that calendar there. And even this submit button will send somebody to an alternate page, right? That's page 3 of the landing page cycle, which is usually a video because it's responding to the... Anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I just want to show you that a landing page flow is entirely intuitive. Most of the time, 90% of the time, it's completely turnkey, and it just works tremendously well. And it's what you need in order to create conversions on your paid promotions. This is why we were able to provide $1 million guarantee against those really low performing products in the market. You all know who they are. They're all the Facebook guys that put a fancy name on their system. You know, the turbo method, the funnel method, the funnel accelerator, all these silly names, but they're all doing exactly the same thing. Add, landing page with form, calendar. And I want you to look at what they're doing online. So jump on a bunch of ads that other brokers are using that might look a little similar and jump through that experience, and they're all exactly the same. Because brokers have it in their head that that is a facility to convert. And all you're doing essentially is sending someone to a contact form. It's not a funnel. It's not a funnel. Anyway, let's jump through. We've updated this form, remembering that this is our current front page. So I'm going to submit this form. Now, before this page is going to redirect somewhere. Okay, the success message will normally be one that you've defined yourself. I'm just going to let it redirect because we're not interested in that now. Okay, wherever it sends is not important. It's just a demo redirect, so it's sending to our website. Okay, so we've submitted that form. You have to assume it was done so on a landing page. And what has happened to the front page of our website? If I click the refresh button here, it will show that allied health page that we previously defined. So once we bounce a user around that funnel experience and say, hey, have a look at this, have a look at that, they will invariably come back to your front page. I think about 80% of all funnel traffic, when you give them the ability to do so, because most people don't link through to your website at any point, they kind of imprison you and they don't give you a means to escape. And that's because they don't want you to escape into a realm where there's no capacity to convert. Obviously, your website is different. You can convert anywhere and everywhere. However, if you've already converted and now you're trying to substantiate, validate your claims, position yourself in the market, and provide a compelling experience, and then demonstrate those attributes of EAT, experience, education, entertainment, whatever the fourth one is, which I always forget, authoritativeness and trust. Right, so we need to, well, everything else to authoritativeness, we need to demonstrate that. And it's very easy to do when you have the facilities on your website that support you there. And that gains the trust of your user. So we've now switched this page out to Allied Health. It's got its own form, it's got its own videos and all sorts of stuff. The whole page sort of shapes itself around allied health professionals. And when I do video days with people, I'll always do 15 standard industry videos, always 15 standard industry videos. I try and make them the first videos we shoot now. There's a specific format to that, and once again, it validates your claim. You probably heard my phone just there with an email coming through. That was an email that was sent to me on the basis of my subscription to that experience. So guys, that's how you change the front page of your website out for another on the basis of submitting a form. So if you have a position landing pages, and all our guys, I think our guys at the moment are spending about 250 grand, about $250,000 every month just on positioned advertising. So doctors, nurses, lawyers, a lot of guys do machinists, and I don't really understand why, because the results aren't really there. But certainly whenever you've got lender policy that supports a particular industry, you can cater then for that industry, because there's policies that fast track their access through into a home loan, or at least provide them with different conditions or better conditions, you know, altered LVR and rates and cashbacks and all sorts of weird stuff. So that's that. If you ever have a landing page that has those elements, as I've just described, and all of those guys are spending $250,000 is a lot of money to spend every month. This is just on the position landing pages, right? And then you've got all the standard refinancing, the 5%, all that stuff on the periphery. you have to leverage that budget. You have to make the most of it. You have to do whatever's necessary in order to convert. And the Switch module supports that in every single case. I don't think we've had a single medical landing page, for example, for over 12 or 13 years without using Switch. Right? I don't think it's possible to support that industry without validating your claims, without backing yourself up. And it does negate the need to have a second website or a third website or a fourth website. We've got one guy with about 35 websites. And each of them is positioned in a different way and so on. The company makes $1 billion a year, so they can certainly invest a bit into maintaining those and keeping them fresh and supporting the social channels and so on. And if you can do that, great. So if you're doing $1 billion a year, you probably need to sort of rethink your digital strategy and look at satellite websites and how you can support that. But everyone else, until you're there, and it takes a while. This is just the B's and A's. This is just the magical way of doing it, and it just works tremendously well. Right? It is an amazing module. Your conversions do increase. The cost per lead goes down. The quality of candidate goes up. All our guys at the moment that have flyers in police stations and things like that are using police.theirwebsite.com.au, and it redirects them directly to a police page. Right? And it's returning good results on the basis of that. It elevates the experience. It makes police feel important. It certainly proves that you're able to support that group because you've put the effort into, creating this video series and doing everything else that's required to actually support your claim. Positioning is not about saying you are something. It's about supporting the claim that you're saying you're something. And if your digital doesn't do that, you don't really do it either. So there you go, and you're going to lose out to those brokers that have this experience in place. I know I've ranted on a bit here. In fact, I'm just looking at the time. I've gone on for about 32 minutes. But I did want to talk about a few things because as I lead into sort of creating just a few educational videos on landing pages, I think there's a whole bunch of things that need to be understood, the methodology, why we do certain things. And I guess Switch is at the top, not main, somewhere towards the top of that list. All right, so there you go. My name is Martin Curry, Belief Media, 0400 777 300. Call or text me at any time, guys, 0400 777 300, and our website, beliefmedia.com.au. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.